Before I cover this story, I want to say there were a lot of requests for this. First off, I want to tell you, are you trying to get me killed? Second off, no, I will not cover this story because of the fact of my chances of maybe being a chief petty officer one day. God forbid this is going to end up like Clockwork Orange, where I'm just sitting there like, I gotta watch every video I've ever made about a chief petty officer. That would be a bad look. But this news comes only 2 days ago as a chief petty officer over at Pensacola, Florida, took the life of her husband. Now, looking at this is pretty in depth. They say Gulf Breeze, another close by area to Pensacola. If you don't know, she is in a hub of like the aviation realm of where all the pilots learn to be pilots. All the little A schoolers, learn their jobs over there. She is in a very air-centric community that's right there. Now, what happened was it looks like her and her husband got into a dispute because it looks like he was trying to take their 3 children out of the home, put them in the car, and take them over to another state somewhere. Pensacola is near Alabama, Louisiana, a bunch of other places, so it's not really like that far from being in another state, to be honest with you. Now, I'm going to get down this timeline because it looks about 12:55. There was a call made to the police that did arrive on scene and talk to them, and what they noted from this was there was no issues, there was no physical altercation that took place. I don't know what happened here. The police department hasn't said anything. Sadly enough, it looks like this happened again at 5 p.m. Now, what ends up happening is, again, the same reports given. They showed up. Nothing was shown to be physical, so they left. Now, I have to ask questions, even though legally both of these people have a ability to stay in the house because they both are, that's their legal residence. They both own that house, right? So they have a right to be there. Why didn't this chief leave? Why didn't she disengage? Why not? Because I'm going to say this, like, if it got to this point and you were having these thoughts, there's barracks rooms. There's so many other things that you could go do. You could call your command and be like, I need help. Maybe a brother or sister, right? You got plenty of those out there. Now, not even an hour later, it looks like the police were given another call, and it looks like from the husband that says that he was being locked inside of their garage at this point and wasn't being allowed to leave. Mind you, their 3 kids are still in the house during all of this. While on the phone, he says that he's locked in the garage, Johnson said, and then goes on to say, during the phone call with dispatch, you hear gunshots. He states, basically, she just shot me. Then you hear 3 more. What's even more sad about this is that the deputies that did arrive on scene arrived only 4 minutes after this call was made, which means 4 minutes too late. What if they've been able to get there a little bit sooner from this situation? But it looks like she took the life of her husband during this incident. On top of that, there was Johnson, the police officer, that talked about his encounter with Bree during this incident and says this. I can't go into what she said or anything like that, Johnson said, but to put it the best way, I'd say she was in shock. Probably you're a Navy chief one day and the next day you're in jail. Yeah, you are literally I would say one of the top dogs on the enlisted side. If you're a chief petty officer, there is a lot of heritage and tradition that goes with that, and leading sailors and, being there for them, especially like if there was a junior sailor in this situation, she would be one to be called, right? And kind of be the mediator for this. So, I look at it and I'm like, usually a chief petty officer, and what I would define as someone with leadership skills, would have the knowledge or emotional intelligence to say, let's de-escalate the situation. But I understand emotions are there. When you got kids, you got husbands, you got houses, you got all this other stuff. I'm not saying it's okay to do this stuff, but I'm just saying, like, probably not thinking with chief brain, thinking with Bree brain at that point. A lot of you guys have been unsubscribed thanks to YouTube. Please just double check. I'll tell you, there's been a lot of people that did not realize they were unsubscribed randomly. So please check. And if you are watching this and you've watched several videos, you probably like it. Please hit that subscribe button if you never did in the first place. Anyway, honestly, the like button for the algorithm is the best. But let's get back to the video right here. Once you've made it into the Chiefs mess, the chief petty officer mess, which a lot of people will say is like a fraternity, I guess you could say, is the best way to have civilians understand it, or other branches even understand that. That is like making it in the Navy enlisted side of things, where it's like you're held to a higher standard. You get treated at a higher level. Now, looking at this situation as well, it does look like Bree Kuhn has been charged with what they call first degree premeditated murder. murder in this circumstance, which could land her in jail up to an entire lifetime. So I don't know if they're going to be able to have that be charged and stick with a trial, but we'll definitely see. And again, I want to recircle back to some victims of this that were never really supposed to be victims, and that was the children in this circumstance. It looks like 3 kids were in the house during the situation. Mind you, this was over a 6-hour period, so I doubt they were not there to hear the yelling, the screaming, the physical altercations, to hear this stuff go off, and it's very unfortunate. Now, when you look at this, it looks like the authorities have reported on where the kids are. One of them went back to their biological father. The other 2 are in the custody of the child services, and they're going to try and reach out and see if there's anyone else that can take them during this time. So very unfortunate for those kids that they had to experience that. This is not the first chief petty officer in Florida situation I've seen, by the way. For some reason, there's crazy men in Florida. There's also crazy chiefs in Florida. I can think of 3 instances right off the top of my head in the past 2 years that we've had chief petty officers go off the rail down in Florida. I don't know what's in the water down there. Let me know. But I'd like to hear your stories down below as well. If you have a story about a chief petty officer that has had a story that's kind of lingered on that everyone knows about that I'm maybe not covering here. But as always, if you support what we do on this channel, you can always support over at patreon.com down in the link in the description below. Also, we do have the YouTube join button below this video as well, that you can get some special perks and benefits there as well. As always, if you guys have questions about this or anything else, you can always hit me up on Instagram, Snapchat, Twitter, or down in the comments below. I love you guys. I'll see you next time.